I crank it up a notch, do y'all remember seeing this game everywhere back in the day? Was the marketing all over the place, or was it just me? I remember knowing what the game was, yet I never had the urge to try it out despite owning a Wii U at the time. Did I just really say Wii U? It's not even in the script! Now I know this glob of color for sure.
Grody.
I know that vibrant box art. The game feels and looks like a product of its time. THQ was still a red hot publisher at the time, and something I know I've seen a bunch of times. I even remember that old Wii intro for the commercials. May we never forget. First world problem, I'm aware. I just can't remember if THQ really pushed this game out to the scene, or maybe it was just me seeing this game all the time because, hey kids, pretty colors and cartoons. I was a baby pea brain back then. I was easy to impress. I actually thought Sonic and the Black Knight was good. If y'all remember playing this game back in the day, or you remember seeing it all over the place, TVs and magazines, please let me know in the comments. But we're gonna brush all that to the side for now. How about we take a look at The Blob? What the hecky is this game? Y'all may know The Blob as the 2008 Wii exclusive title, right? But did you actually know that this started out as a freeware title? That's right, a freeware game for Microsoft Windows that was created by 8 students over the Urect School of Arts. I'm sorry, I'm bad at math. Uterus. I'm going with uterus. Sorry, I'm sorry, that was bad. I'm sorry. Hey, I said I'm sorry! While the game was still freeware, it caught the eyes of THQ thirsty and horny for a new IP. They contacted the students and managed to buy the rights to the game, and thus got to work on making something that wasn't a Nickelodeon game for once. And now to you, Draw Tablet, which butchered the budget. The story of THQ's Chapter 11 bankruptcy is a story for another time, but just before their fallout, The Blob received a sequel that got different colored box arts with each port. Charm like this is why I love me some Gimmeo Vames. Now you may be asking, what was next for the 8 original minds behind The Blob? Well, actually, 5 of those dudes went on to create their own game studio called Ronimo Games? Wait, hold on, I know these guys. These are the same people behind Awesomenauts! Dude, I loved this game back in high school. I remember coming back from school every day to play this game with my former friend group. I'm glad I'm not in said group anymore. Long story short, in case if you care, I was kicked out of the friend group for being too weird. But you know what? With all that I know now in hindsight, probably for the best. Anywho, with the revival of THQ under the new brand THQ Nordic, we saw quite a revival of some THQ properties. Destroy All Humans, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and finally, The Blob. Ports of both The Blob games. Look, we got more The Blob, okay? Stop complaining. Both games saw a return on PC and modern consoles, which is obviously the more relevant and accessible way to play them. Speaking of which, the PS4 version is the port we'll be looking at today. To me at least, it's always interesting to see how a diverse game from a unique console like the Wii U gets ported to next-gen console. If I say Wii U one more goddamn time, well, we're not using the Wii mode anymore, so what do we do? One step at a time, folks. Anywho, let's get down and funky with The Blob. So the story is set in Chroma City that has been very much taken over quickly by the Inked Corporation, ran by these little black blood clots called Inkies, or more notably Comrade Black, leading the escapade, packing heat with as much ink that could last an artist a lifetime, which kind of makes me sad a little knowing I have 3 pencil art sets and 5 pen sets that has been collecting dust for going on around 5 years now? I don't know, I guess reject tradition, embrace modernity. The Inkies' main goal is to steal the color of the world because, well, fun is gross, who wants that? Imprisoning the citizens called Radiants and stealing the color right out of the city by sucking everything dry.
Good night, everybody.
Thankfully, our protagonist Blob manages to catch the Inkies right in the middle of the discourse and sets out to save the city and the Radiants and take back the former glory of the city. It's your duty to color everything you touch and to prove to all the incels out there that video games are indeed art.
Hallelujah.
The whole city is your canvas, and you can paint everything however and wherever. A set of words that could definitely get an artist's panties wet, including mine. Oh wait, I just peed. Now the rest of the story is told by the cutscenes in each level, but it's just the Inkies trying their hardest to do their job and just being too adorable at it. Look at these cute little goobers, these silly miscreants. Aren't they just the cute— oh no, I killed— Other than that, it doesn't have much going for it story-wise. You take down the corporation and save the day, with the theme of, if I had to guess, never losing the childlike spirit inside your heart no matter how bleak and gray reality might get. All it takes is one spark of hope and kindness to inspire others to pass it on to others, or I don't know, whatever after-school special crap is going on. I'm not a politician. But with a story as bare and naked as this, it's usually the gameplay that wears the pants in this relationship. If you recall, this was formerly a 2008 Wii U exclusive title, so motion control— did I say it again? Motion control was the new hot gameplay mechanic that the Blob utilized. I'm curious to how the gameplay will function now that the motion control is out of the picture. Or at least I think. Or do I really need those PS3 knockoff jelly sex toys that's somehow the cost of my grandpa's coffin? Thankfully, motion control is out entirely. And after completing the game, it is functional indeed. However, one problem I do have is that you play one level and you've pretty much seen the whole game. Let me elaborate. So you start off as someone's jack-off session down the toilet, and we're either greeted by the rebellion— I forgot the name, nor do I care— who will give us the general task at hand by showing you the general layout of the level, or we just go right at it and begin painting. Now, as soon as you're able to move that jelly roll of yours, what you first want to do is clean yourself up, you nasty. You'll want to find these colored vacuum bots, each with an individual primary color and each scoring 10 paint points. Just commit a hit and run, and the color is all yours until you change it. Unless you hit a water pump or anything to get you back into that shot that should have been swallowed, you won't be changing to a different primary color once you hit another bot. You can mix colors as well, like mixing blue and yellow will get you this vomit green, and mixing red and yellow will get you this orange piss, and you might want to get that checked. But hey, if you mix any 3 colors at once, you get to jump around the city as a piece of poo. Once you get to painting the place, you'll start to notice that the color is regained around the world and the sky, and the screen gets brighter like a filter. I love how bleak, dark, and silent the level can be once you start out, but as you paint the world, the music builds up and the environment will look more fun and pleasing to the eye. As you rescue the citizens and color the buildings, it encourages you to keep going because of this mood it sets, and it hardly takes itself seriously. We just have a really fun game here. It's chill all the way through with a feeling of pure bliss and joy as you regain life back to the world. This sort of feeling is really unique with the Blob, which is why I kept coming back to it, besides the unique gameplay style. What I also like is how each color adds a bit of a mix to the music of the level. When you select a stage, you have a choice of selecting Blob's mood, which is the game's OST. I'll use Funky, for example, because, well, look at my shirt. Who are you watching? Side note, this shirt is now available on TeePublic, along with my new logo you can slap right onto your boobs. Links below. Anyway, when I start to paint in red, you hear this sweet, sweet, sexy saxophone, and painting poop everywhere gives you that funky vinyl scratch I'm a total sucker for. No real complaints on the OST department, but I like how you can mix up the instruments to your liking. Now, the controls is where the complaints start to flow and seep in, just like you, but just as nasty. You're a literal blob, so the game has you control like one. You hardly have any weight to your movement, and the less paint points you have, the smaller you are, which grants you more control and speed. By having more points on you, you do the exact opposite, and now you're a chunky chungus. And you also have a jump with a lot of hang time, and turning in the air hardly being an issue unless you're wall jumping. The game expects you to wall jump from building to building like the cool, edgy blob that you are. Don't. Just don't. If you're trying to be precise about where you land and where to go, this can be a real do's in your poos, and I need booze. You fire off way too fast, and you'll miss a good chunk of buildings because obviously you're not touching them. I suggest wall riding until the set of buildings is done, and then jump off if you have to. Plus, this game doesn't utilize this mechanic to be a complete necessity, but you do have a stop move, which stops all of your momentum and makes you land immediately, which is a major necessity, and I suggest you master it immediately. The moment your wet groins hits that air, you have your finger hover over that button so you'll be more accurate on where you want to go. I'm sure the lightweight movement is part of the game's challenge, but I found it mostly to be tedious because the game hardly rewards me, or encourages me for that matter, to master blobs. The controls aren't horrible by any means, but it can work against you really quick when you need it to work the most. What I do like is that there's a fair share of platforming segments in each stage, so the game isn't exactly done with one city and move on to the next kind of deal, which I think the game pulls off not excellently, but functional. You have a lock-on move, which helps you target enemies and colored bots, who will most likely be conveniently placed for a challenge or to help you traverse the stage entirely. If you start to see a series of enemies or bots nearby, it's probably for a nearby challenge or to help you get you somewhere. Also, speaking of enemies, the Inkies will be on the prowl for that. But just lock onto them and give them a good smack that would give a baby a concussion, and they should end up as a nasty 8-bit paste. Is it dead? Like, I know they're made of ink, so I mean, are they completely dead? Does it come back? Hello? Nah, he did. Don't get too trigger happy with this, however, and make sure you have plenty of paint points on you before getting into a fight. You can't easily predict it, but enemies will splat some ink on you, and once that happens, find some water as soon as you can. Not only do you suck the color out of everything you touch, but your paint points begin to deplete, and once that count reaches 0, now how you'll be progressing the levels is by filling up this color bar up here, which by reaching a certain threshold, grants you a gate to unlock, which paves the way to another section of the level. And once you gain enough points, it unlocks the final gate for you to contaminate the ocean once more. You beat the level, bada bing, bada boom, on to the next one. Now, how do you fill up the color bar to progress, you may ask? Well, whatever you want. Like, more importantly, coloring everything with any trace of white on it. Buildings, pavements, bridges, blimps, all the Hallmark movies, signs, billboards, boats. Pretty much hop onto any surface and most likely it can be colored. And also collecting styles hitting around the level, which gives your color that extra spice. Coloring the trees and the environment. Like, I'm just going down the list, yo. No, literally, there's a list for each level. Here, I'll show you. Just do all this and the color bar will love you. Now, the challenges, as I mentioned a second ago, will be the ones that fill up the bar the most. Around 5 or 6 of these and it'll be good to go to the end. Too bad there's like 30 in each level! So this is where the resistance comes in to give you certain missions, whether that being racing to a certain spot, coloring with certain colors, and taking down bases, prisons, and police stations. Even a 2008 game understood police reform. The thing about these challenges is that they take up the majority of gameplay, and let me just say, for a Rebellion that knows a lot about the place that you're in and more than willing to show you where to go, they sure do like to do a whole lot of nothing! Some levels have a linear story structure, so heading to a certain mission by mistake, like this skippity-boobity bitch right here, they'll sometimes want you to race to a completely different segment in the level, which most likely be done by Z-jumping to it. And it's always a pain in my lumpy butt to get back to where I was because I wasn't done coloring over there. Now, the challenges I hate the most is already here. You'd think that the challenges that have to utilize the game's mechanic would be the most fun, but oh, you'd be wrong. Let me give an example. She'll want a set of buildings red, some of them yellow, and the rest of them green. But I already wasted my time over there painting these buildings with a color I had on me, that being red again, for example. If I see a building that needs a good coat of paint, I'm gonna paint it. Further onto the game, some of these I just wanted to skip. These are way too tedious and so unnecessary. We need to free the citizens. Now is not the time to overachieve. Wait, you have a paintbrush. Do it yourself, you self-absorbed cunt! The professor gives you the bases to take back with a certain color and a set of color points you need. And the further you head into the story, the amount of points you need can get pretty hefty. Now, the reason why these ain't too bad because the color bots you need will most likely be right in front of it. You can't miss it. But my favorite set of missions are Biffs here, who just want you to throw some hands around whoever needs them. Either challenge you do, you'll be getting some pretty hefty points for that color bar and some extra time on the clock. Oh yeah, there's a time limit for each level, but it's hardly a mechanic to worry about. I'm pretty sure you start off each stage with a 10-minute time limit, but you earn extra time by giving life back to a set of radiants, killing a set of baddies, or completing a challenge, so by the end of the level, you'll have around 30 minutes left. Yeah, you'll have more than enough time. That is, if you're going for 100% completion in a stage, which is a bit odd considering how long these stages can last. Oh wait! Yeah, each section of the stage can get pretty dummy thick, but also there's around 4 or 5 sections in total, and if you're going for 100% completion in the level, It can get pretty tedious and draining fast. Considering all the levels feel the exact same, no new moves or abilities to unlock, the objectives in each level are the same. Speaking of levels, how many are they? It was the same feeling I had with No Man's Sky before the updates. Sure, it's fun once you're in the mood, but it's all the same every time. Sure, I can turn it off for about a good couple of hours, but I always get the urge to hop back in. I just had to book it to the end in the last 3 levels because I just wanted to be done with the game. Not because the game is bad, but I have a review to get out. But once you do complete a stage, you unlock some side quest that offers an extra challenge that rewards you with some cool concept art and early trailers. More notably, you unlock its free paint counterpart and free paint mode, which is exactly how it sounds. You have no time limit, the ink keys are gone, all the gates are open, just paint the world like the apathetic maniac we artists are. Now, I hardly spent any time in this, it's just the exact same level without the time limit, which I keep forgetting was a thing in the first place. There's also a multiplayer mode to try out, but I don't think I know anyone who would take it seriously. We're too busy pinballing each other in Smash.
Has Mario taught you nothing?
Mario can do it! Oh god!
So, in conclusion, The Blob is such an enjoyable game with unique mechanics with such a vibrant mood that has you coming back. But to coincide with that statement, I don't recommend playing this if you have a heavy schedule on your hands. It's even worse for completionists because you're just hunting down settlements and things to color by default, so completing each level to get that gold medal could be a 2-hour nightmare. If you want to just bolt to the end of the level, you can do that and come back later, but this game encourages you to do everything on the list or don't do them at all. But that's enough complaining. How about some good things? I like The Blob a lot. I can't think of another game as charmful and lovable as this. I feel as if the mood and the gameplay is so unique to The Blob that even though the levels are super duper long, it has me coming back just like that feeling I have with No Man's Sky. And I know it will be the same feeling I have with the upcoming Cyberpunk. Yes, hi, hello, this is Jorgogo from the future. The game is a complete dumpster fire, and I just recommend waiting until February to actually play the game, stably play the game. Or if you have a PS5, or if you have Steam, then just go nuts, I guess. I don't know, but just don't play this game on PS4 or Xbox One, okay? I like the funky fresh vibe the game brings. I love the unique gameplay style, and I love the characters, and I like the simple yet funny story. Like I mentioned, the game doesn't take itself seriously. It's just a fun time all the way through. It just wanted to be a fun game, just cause it wanted to be a fun game. And I hope that's the exact same feeling I have with The Blob 2, which I will be covering in the future. I have no idea when. I still need to do Halo 2. I covered Halo like a year ago, was it? Considering sequels, I am bad at it. But if you're interested in trying this game out, it is available for everything now. The PC, the Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. Just be a little cautious when you get the Switch version though, because I personally don't know if they utilize the Joy-Cons to be used like a Wiimote. I can't say that for sure, but just look it up, I don't know. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. What did y'all think of this video? Hecky, what do you think of The Blob? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts on the comments below, and be sure to like, and most importantly, subscribe, because guys, I'm not going anywhere. You'll be seeing me again, and I only get funkier every time. I recommend checking out my social medias, that being Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm on Twitter constantly, so that's the one I recommend. Or if you want to go the extra mile in supporting me, I recommend checking out my Patreon and my TeePublic store. You can get some cool merch while you're there. All of the links are down below. But anywho, y'all make sure you be cool, be wild, to be groovy, and be sure to try out the Newgrounds game, Friday Night Funkin'. I myself am bad at rhythm games, but I'm interested in giving this a go sometime. I love the art style, and the OST is, ooh, gorgeous. But hey, if you want to see me getting a game over constantly from this game, if you want to see a fucking chill series from this, please let me know in the comments as well. Now I need to get out of this closet. I freaking farted.